on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Truly Inconsequential. You got my homeboy, Mr. Greer.
Hello.
And old Brim from the Grindhouse Radio. And we do this little show every single Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, give or take a few minutes. And today, we're going to be doing a very interesting show. We're doing Lola Bunny from Space Jam against Daphne from Scooby Doo. Now, Daphne's an iconic character.
Yeah.
And Lola Bunny is a popular character, but are either one of them truly consequential? Honestly, we're going to find that out. What do you call it? In terms of the show itself, if you're not familiar with us, pretty much not all characters are created equal. The two of us debate every single week. Zeros in front of you guys, a live audience. You guys are very, very, very extremely important.
Most important.
We need to make sure that we have you here to help us debate, to help us hit little facts and truths within these characters that we wouldn't necessarily know ourselves. That being said, today we've already said who we're going to be talking about, as Mr. Greer always says.
Please, if you guys could, like, share, comment on the streams. All your interaction helps more people see us. We need the likes, we need the shares, so more people can come join the conversation, hop in the chat. Don't be afraid. All your opinions matter. The show is called Truly Inconsequential, but the most consequential thing is everybody hears opinions. So feel free. Please hop on in. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely. What do you call? Could you turn my headphones down just a tiny little bit because it's getting there? I think there we go. What do you call it? Now, again, this week we're arguing Daphne from Scooby Doo as well as Lola Bunny from Looney Tunes Space Jam. Aside from their good looks, to either have any actual reason to be on their respective shows in the film? The answer is probably not. Question is, who's going to remain truly inconsequential?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, where would you want to go with this first, Greer?
I don't know.
It's a
you
tough
pick.
one.
You always make me pick, so you pick.
I can pick. I mean, honestly, I like Daphne. She's really useless, but I think that more useless is Lola Bunny. And I want to start on Lola Bunny simply because I think there's probably a little bit more to say in the terms of the fact that Warner Brothers needed, did they really need? I don't think they needed, but they needed like a bunny sex symbol to kind of throw up there with bugs.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they also needed a comparable, strong female character. Who's the strong female character within Looney Tunes? Granny? Is it Granny?
Perhaps Tweety. Maybe not.
Really, Tweety Bird?
No, I guess. Listen,
I'm pretty sure Tweety Bird's a boy too.
Is Tweety a boy?
I think Tweety Bird might
be
a boy.
That's a good question. Is Tweety a boy? Is he not a boy? I don't listen. In terms of a female character, you might be right. They might not have
Tweety
a strong
Bird is a
female
male.
character. Really?
Yep. It's according to Google.
Wow.
But no, they don't. I mean, look.
Female, I don't know.
From what I was looking, again, from Google, the powers of Google and the powers of Wikipedia, it looks to be Lola Bunny was created to be Bugs' girlfriend or a female counterpart to Bugs for Space Jam. So she originated. She's not an OG Looney Tune. She's
Right.
not. She wasn't there from the beginning. But she is the female Bugs Bunny or Bugs' girlfriend in Space Jam.
But
so that is her creation. That was why she was put into the universe.
Right.
Let's
But did we really need that? You know what I'm saying? Did we really, truly, absolutely need it? I mean, look, having a strong female character, absolutely on board for that. But
I think you did. I think you absolutely did because again, if you're not putting the character of Lola Bunny, if you're not putting the character of Lola Bunny, you're basically alienating. I'm not saying that girls wouldn't have watched it or females wouldn't have watched it, but you are kind of alienating an entire grouping of people because you don't have that character that they can relate to. Are they really going to relate to Granny?
Fair enough. However, follow me on this. They sexualized the crap out of her. It wasn't like a Minnie Mouse situation where they made a female version of Mickey and it was just like plain and regular and, a fun character. But this is a sexualized female bunny.
That's true, but I think, but it wasn't like they just
breasts and everything.
But it wasn't like they just threw her up there for people to just oogle at and stuff like that. She actually played a part in defeating the Monstars and being an integral part of the team known as Space Jam. You know what I mean? And then she was consequential or important enough to bring her back for the second movie, and she wasn't overtly sexualized. In fact, they put her in men's or baggy basketball shorts and a baggy baggy basketball jersey. You know what I mean?
Maybe she gained a couple pounds over
So
the
what
years.
I mean is,
you know, it's been a little while since Space Jam 1. I mean, she could have had a few litters with Bugs. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know if Bugs Bunny's got kids, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not like she was just thrown in there to be like a sex symbol, like a Jessica Rabbit. Sure, she had those qualities, but she also was there to be a kick-ass basketball player and take down the Monstars. You know, she wasn't just a cheerleader standing on the sidelines of pom-poms, where if she was put in there to be simply just to be a sexualized character, you'd think she'd just be a cheerleader. She wasn't.
I can see where you're coming from on that, but to be blunt, did we really need her? We didn't need her. She didn't need to be there. She did nothing in this film that would have in either Space Jam.
In Space Jam, she was one of the biggest like athletic people on the team. Like it was like her and Bugs Bunny, I guess you could say. I mean, like it was literally her, Bugs Bunny, and Michael Jordan. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
it's not like, listen, Bugs didn't need Lola. Now here's the thing. They had a Babs. They had a Babs Bunny.
It was in Tiny Toons.
With Buster. Buster needed the Babs. Babs needed Buster. But Lola's not Babs. Now, why didn't they make Babs into an adult character instead of making it Lola? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
Tiny Toons is 6 years older.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say, you know, I'd rather have Babs Bunny was a great character. She was fun.
I think Lola Bunny was just as great of a character, though.
See, I disagree. Babs Bunny was a fun, lovable character.
What's going on, Brian? But so was
Brian.
Lola. So was Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny was absolutely still a lovable character, and again, I think she was a newer, fresher character within Looney Tunes. Why? What makes Lola Bunny not a lovable character? That's what I don't understand.
Again, I don't think she was a lovable character. I think she was a sexualized character, even with the baggy pants. You know, it was like, ooh, the sexy bunny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but again, like that. That's such a. I personally, I'm sorry, but I feel like that's a really stupid argument because she wasn't just that. You know, she was an integral part to the Space Jam movie because she was an integral part to the Toon Squad team. You know what I mean? Like, if I would consider her an overtly sexualized character if they just put her in short shorts, a tank top, gave her pom-poms, and made her one of the sexy cheerleaders on the sideline. But she wasn't. She was one of the most talented basketball players or members of the Toon Squad. Probably even more talented than Bugs Bunny. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Lola showed as soon as she stepped into the movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so I guess we're arguing, is Lola Bunny consequential to Space Jam because that's what she's known for.
But then that's the only thing she's known for.
Daphne's really only known for Scooby Doo.
Yeah, but Scooby Doo has been around for over 50 years.
That's fine. Well, we're gonna get. We'll get there, but
maybe 50. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, but just because the show itself has been around for 50 years doesn't necessarily mean that her as a character is consequential.
No, her as a character is not consequential.
We'll get there.
But we're going to get there. I mean, again, it's going to be, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be hard figuring out, you know, who has any consequentiality, to be completely blunt.
Yeah, they're both pretty. I will admit that they're both pretty useless in terms of their overall characters in their respective shows. But
if you plucked Lola out of Space Jam, it wouldn't have made a difference if they never they created a character for the movie, so she wouldn't have been missed. It would, you know what I'm saying? She would not have been a missed character because she was non-existent. So the reason that Space Jam itself worked at the very beginning when they first put it out was because people were like, this is awesome. It's all our favorite Looney Tune characters, and now they're in the real world with Michael Jordan. Wow!
No, Michael Jordan went to the Toon world.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know that you had that crossover between, you know, animation and real life, kind of like Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it had a big superstar in basketball. And at the end of the day, you know, it was like people were excited about their favorite old school characters, not to go see Lola Bunny. You know what I'm saying? Lola, if she was made specifically for Space Jam, there was no reason that she didn't need to be in the movie. They wanted to throw something in. Okay? People would have been perfectly fine if she never existed. Now that she's there, do a lot of people really care? maybe there's a little bit of a female audience there that are like, oh yeah, cool, women rule type of a thing. Or what do you call? I'm surprised in this world, and again, not to say I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I'm surprised they didn't make her an LGBTQ.
I'm pretty sure that was like
an idea.
An idea for. I don't know if they did that in the new Space Jam movie, but I think that they were just like hinting at it maybe in A New Legacy. I didn't really. I haven't seen that one yet. But no, but I do think that she does.
It was awful, by the way.
But I do think that she does hold some kind of value in the sense of giving women and females a Looney Tune to grab onto. That's not. Look, sure, you could throw it at Babs Bunny, but outside of Tiny Toons, Babs Bunny for the most part doesn't really exist.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? And then Space
Agreed.
Jam was a cultural phenomenon and was a huge movie for its time and for a lot of the people now. So I do think, sure, originally were they saying I want to go see Space Jam because of Lola Bunny? No, they weren't, because they didn't know Lola Bunny existed, but I think once you got into watching the movie, into the movie Space Jam, you realize, wow, Lola Bunny does hold a real place within this movie and does hold a big role within this movie.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. Brian says, I wouldn't tell Lola to her face that she's inconsequential.
I wouldn't either. She'll kick the crap out of you.
Mary says, hello, Mary. What do you call it? I
mean, look. If we were having a debate of just Space Jam, Ishmael Street, thank you so much for the like. Appreciate that. I don't know why that didn't come up on the screen. If we were having a conversation about just Space Jam, okay, and the main characters within Space Jam, sure, Lola Bunny might wind up being inconsequential because, she's not more consequential than Bugs, more MJ, probably not even more consequential than Bill Murray.
Right.
But in this conversation between these two, when we get to pitting them against each other, I'm still going to fight that. I feel like Lola did have an important role within Space Jam. She wasn't just let me throw this female character in for everybody to stare at and eventually create porn out of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily think that was her only role in the movie.
Brian says, good points, Tom.
Thank you, Brian.
Listen, Tom usually has a lot of very good points. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're good, that they're right points. They are good points, but they're just, not necessarily the right points. Here it is. The fact of the matter is now, let's get on to Daphne a little bit. We're halfway through the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Daphne, now, again, I love the character. I love one of my friends voices the character. I am a fan of the character in the grand scheme of things. However, she's not necessarily essential. If you plucked her out, I don't know if it would necessarily do much of a change to Scooby Doo overall. However, I think they needed the juxtaposition of of a good-looking girl and Velma. You know what I mean? I think there was a juxtaposition, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition.
Yeah. I think each character within Scooby Doo represents a specific sect of people. Like Fred is the alpha, leader, crazy, not crazy, but like jock-ish kind of character.
And Daphne's his girlfriend.
Daphne is the preppy, popular, rich girl of the time. Velma is the
and the girlfriend. Just don't forget, and the girlfriend of Fred.
I understand. I don't know if they're like consistently boyfriend girlfriend throughout the series, but
right.
I understand what you mean.
I think that they all got passed around like a bag of Cheetos.
Probably was what did they come out in the 60s or 70s?
Yeah,
probably. So Velma is the smart, nerdy, quirky girl, and then Scooby and Shaggy are the afraid stoners.
Right.
I personally think that Daphne is probably the most likely one that if you plucked out, it doesn't change a damn thing. Because what does she add? Fred's the leader who's driving everybody into doing whatever they're doing. Velma, if it wasn't for Velma, they probably don't figure out half of these mysteries.
Velma's the key element.
She's the actual detective in this whole thing. And then Shaggy's just I feel like Shaggy and Scooby are just like they're like the normies, like they're like the normal people. It's like if you were in a scary situation, you'd probably turn. If you were in a scary situation trying to fight a monster, you'd probably turn and run just like Shaggy and Scooby. Like they're the one that everybody I feel like could, for the most part, relate to.
Right. I agree with you.
Daphne, I feel like, is the over-sexualized character that's just like
huge.
She's just there to just be the pretty girl of the cartoon, and that's literally it. Like, she doesn't add anything.
I think that she is the attractive, redheaded character. Somebody, like the character that gave the little boys their first Woodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I agree with you on that. But at the end of the day, Fred was just as useless as Daphne. Okay.
No,
the
I don't think so.
The spotlight was always on Shaggy and Scooby. Okay. And what do you call it? And in terms of solving everything, it was always Velma.
No, I understand that, but I think Fred was very integral to the show because Fred was the leader. Fred was the guy that basically drove the mystery machine and put them in these situations and was like, "Hey, gang, let's solve this mystery. Let's do this. Let's accomplish this feat. Let's figure out who's messing with these townspeople." You know what I mean? Sure, he wasn't the guy that figured it out necessarily, but he was the guy that was at the forefront, the guy pushing forward to be like, all right, let's do this. Velma's the genius that puts it all together, but Fred's the guy that gets them through the door and initially does it.
See, I don't know if I see it that way, but regardless, I do agree in terms of Daphne just kind of being the odd man out. You know what I mean?
She just exists.
Again, if she was plucked out, you know what I mean? Would it change the story much? Probably not.
Fred would just get with Velma.
But it's the same thing as Lola in Space Jam. If you plucked her out, who cares? So the fact is Daphne, well, one, she's been around for a hell of a long time. So there's a much bigger fan base for Daphne. From back when all the way till now, she's been existent. She's always been there. Scooby Doo is a mainstay.
That's fine, but that doesn't.
Animation.
But again, that doesn't necessarily mean she's important to the story.
Well, in the movies, which you liked the movies,
I like the first one.
She was very integral in the movies.
I've only seen the first one.
Wasn't she very integral in the movies?
I haven't seen the Spooky Island or whatever it was called.
It's been a while.
Probably since I was 10 years old, maybe.
Right,
so
right.
I really can't speak on that all that much. But I mean, like, look, I think for all the points that you were trying to make about Lola, you can easily make about Daphne and Lola. But Lola has a more, I guess we're just gonna move into debate the both of them. I think Lola has more of a meaningful role in Space Jam. Like, she represents a lot more than what Daphne represents within Scooby Doo. If you want somebody for little girls to look up to in Scooby Doo, you can look up to Velma. Velma's a genius. Velma's a smart, basically
I'll give you that.
a bare bones detective.
That was well played.
Lola's the only other character that little girls can be like, wow, she's a badass. I could definitely be a big time basketball player after watching that. You know what I mean? Like, what does Daphne do other than flaunt how rich her family is or well off her life is? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it teaches kids what not to be like. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think Daphne's like that.
I don't know.
I think Daphne's still, she's still a lovable,
she's a lovable
character.
Here's the thing is, Scooby Doo has been around since before I was around. So I'm pretty sure.
Thank you for the share, Lisa.
Or it came right after. I'm not sure. But what do you call it? The fact is, they've been around for so long that I could not imagine Scooby Doo without Daphne. And I also believe that in the newer episodes and newer films that they have and specials, I believe that she's more of a consequential character. I just don't know them well enough in order to debate it.
I'm just going off of what I know.
I'm
just going off of what I initially know about Scooby Doo, and what I know about Scooby Doo is Fred is the leader. Fred is the figurehead and the face of the whole gang. Velma is the smart one. Scooby and Shaggy are the scared stoners, and Daphne is the preppy rich girl that is just there to be Fred's arm candy. You know what I mean? Like, that's
I mean, she's been helpful in different situations. Well, here, I mean, she was the rich one, right? Wasn't she the one that was funding everything? Wasn't her?
I don't think that was ever said, or I mean, to my knowledge, that's
it wasn't
never,
implied. I think it was implied.
To my knowledge, again, if somebody in the chat knows, let me know. I don't know if that really was ever brought up that Daphne was the one funding the entire mystery machine or the mystery gang or whatever they call themselves. I forgot, but I don't know. I just never really got the vibe that Daphne was really all that important to Scooby Doo. I think she was everything that you said Lola was, the person that people could just stare at, and
Well,
the person that boys fantasized about when they were thinking about what cartoon character they'd like to bang.
well, well, Jinkies, Tom. I've got an idea of how to turn this around. This is why she might have been consequential, because she was essentially serving as the damsel in distress who would occasionally be kidnapped and tied up and gagged and left, locked up somewhere.
Yeah, they've all done. That's what happened to all of them.
Yeah, but she was more so the one.
Velma was a damsel in distress every time her glasses fell off and she couldn't see.
But then they didn't care.
Well, I have to say Velma.
They didn't care about poor Velma.
They'd say Velma.
But
they're all one big gang. Like, I feel like they all get put into some crazy situations. You know what I mean? Like, Velma's been taken. Scooby and Shaggy have been taken. I'm sure even at points Fred's been taken.
With what do you call it? In here it is in the first series, at least it says on see the Wikipedia or Google. Daphne was portrayed as the beautiful and enthusiastic but clumsy and danger-prone member of the gang. What do you call it? Danger-prone Daphne. Daphne is danger-prone. Danger-prone Daphne was the nickname. What do you call it? But it says who always follows her intuition. She serves as the damsel in distress. So the damsel in distress was her job. So that was her function. That's her functionality.
But again, like I'm saying, like I was saying, like
just like back when in the Dudley Do-Right cartoons.
I never watched that.
Oh, okay. You never watched it, so you don't know. Where they go, you know what I mean, and they take the damsel in distress.
No, I get that, but
like in the old black and white movies.
I get that, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like everybody wound up being that. You know what I mean? Like, sure, maybe in the first little bit, but as far as Scooby Doo as a whole goes, they all wind up being damsels, or I don't know what the male version of that is, but they all wind up being in distress and needing some kind of saving from somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like in the grand scheme of things of the Scooby Doo characters, Daphne's the least important of all of them.
Okay.
Like, what is I don't know. That's just my thinking of it. I couldn't see where Daphne winds up being important in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so what do you call it? In terms of this, what I'm reading is Fred was oblivious to Daphne. Daphne and him were not necessarily boyfriend and girlfriend. I always thought they would.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think that it was ever a definitive thing. Lisa says, I have to agree with Brim. Daphne is consequential.
Help us here, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa. Why? Why is Daphne consequential? What makes her important to the? And don't give me the bias that you knew Scooby Doo before Space Jam. that does not count. We can't have that. Like, what makes Daphne consequential? And I think I felt like I knew that Fred and Daphne were never officially like boyfriend and girlfriend. I think it was just you could always tell that there was sexual tension between Fred and Daphne, or at least for Fred. Fred definitely wanted to see what was under the skirt of Daphne.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I gotta believe that in the grand scheme of things, I think if you did pluck Daphne out, I think that there wouldn't be a lot different of a difference, but I think there would be somewhat of a difference, because again, I think that Shaggy and Scooby always ran away. Velma would always be the one solving the mysteries, and then Fred would, like you said, was like, all right, here we go. I would say that she's the damsel. I would say she got 9 times out of 10. She's the one that got caught up in the problems. She was the one that was accident prone. So essentially, they were trying to help her and save her 80 to 90% of the time and figure out who the bad guy was. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it was so if they didn't have her, what's the true purpose of, you know what I mean?
The true purpose of figuring out who a lot of these people were just, I mean, it was the whole crux of the show. I mean, the crux of the show
mystery
would be them stumbling onto some town or some area that was being tormented by some spirit, monster, or beast, or whatever it is, and then they go out and find it. Their purpose was never to just be like, oh, I wonder who's gonna mess with Daphne this week. It was how can the mystery gang or the mystery machine people, like, they were to solve mysteries and figure out what's wrong with all of these areas and all of these towns. You know, like, Daphne just so happened to be totally useless and made things harder for them.
Here on a thing, it's like it's on thegamer.com. We'll give them credit here. Scooby Doo, 25 things about Daphne that make no sense. Why her? In a crowded room full of people, the monster would always go for Daphne. Either she's got really bad luck or a sign on her back that says, pick me. Either way, it's not great for her. So it seems as though she's the one, even in this, that she's the one that's always getting, picked on. She's the one that's
She and
always
Fred
getting
were not
grabbed.
dating. I always looked at Daphne as the damsel. No, I get that. I totally get that. But I mean, so if you took Daphne out, does the mystery machine, does the mystery gang not solve mysteries? Do they not go in and solve these mysteries?
But it was
simply
more
because
than
they
just the
don't have
mysteries,
Daphne?
though. To be completely honest, I don't even think that they were really going on mystery things. I think that they were just a bunch of stoned kids getting baked in a van, and and they just saw all this stuff and made it up in their own heads.
What do you mean though? They were like MythBusters or ghost hunters. Yeah, no, I get that. But yeah, they would stumble upon these different areas. They would hear all these different legends about people being tormented or problems. Hendrik, welcome to the stream. They would hear all these urban legends or these myths or these tales of people being tormented, and they would go and get together and figure it out and solve the mystery. And then it would always happen, like you said in the article, the monster would, for some reason, just pick Daphne to just go after. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
She was listen, yeah, was she the sex symbol? Yes.
I don't think she was integral to Scooby Doo though.
I don't know if she was integral. I really don't. I really don't. You know what? Maybe Daphne was Velma's girlfriend. Did we ever think of that?
Maybe
Maybe there was a little bit of special action going on there. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if you pulled Daphne out, if it would be different. But I do know after 40-something years of watching Scooby Doo, you know what I mean, of all iterations of it, I couldn't think of Scooby Doo without Daphne at this point. You know what I'm saying? I could think of anything Looney Tunes without Lola.
Mm-hmm.
To be completely honest, and that's why I'm gonna vote for Daphne is being more
So
consequential
you're saying
than
that
Lola.
Lola's inconsequential.
That's my
They're
overall
both
grand
pretty
scheme.
inconsequential.
So I mean, I'm assuming you're going for Lola is the way it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to just play devil's advocate, I could just try and I tried to fight for Lola as much as I can, but
I think you've got some great points.
I know. I figured it's just I think I think it's just fighting. We're fighting a battle of two characters that are generally not really all that important to their stories anyway. So
Neither of them are
it's,
important. But who's more important to the overall story arc? Again, I don't know.
Miss you all come visit in South Carolina at Eudora Farm Safari Park. We have 300 exotic animals, 3 giraffes. I love it. I love it. Yes, I agree. That'd be great. I'd love to come see your
We need
giraffes
to go see you guys.
and some exotic animals. That'd be really cool. So guys, we're coming towards the end of the show. We only have a couple of minutes left. Who do you deem as inconsequential? That's what I want. I don't want to know who you think is consequential. Who do you think is inconsequential? So
Yeah.
all the names that you litter this chat with will be who you deem as inconsequential to their stories. Okay, so who do you got? Is it Daphne? Is it Lola? Who am I taking out of these stories? And it does nothing to change the fact. Which one?
That's a good question.
I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see. So Lisa originally, she already said Daphne is consequential, so she is saying Lola is inconsequential.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Lola. Mary says Lola. So I'm assuming we're gonna wind up saying Lola is inconsequential. Hendrik, what do you think? Brian, if you're still here, what do you think? Who do you deem inconsequential? So we got 3 for Lola, that's including you. I mean, and I am the lone Daphne.
Yeah, I think it's a tough call because they both suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hendrik says Lola. Lola is inconsequential. So I think that's a resounding. That is resounding Lola. Lola Bunny is inconsequential, which makes sense.
It makes sense, but you had a lot of really good. You really served her well. I got to tell you that.
I do. Look, again, we're fighting a battle of 2 people that are definitely not, like I said, not consequential to either one of their stories. But I guess Daphne winds up being more consequential than Lola.
And I don't know why. Like
it's probably just
but I don't.
I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say it's just familiarity. With a lot of people's votes, just go on general familiarity because look, not a lot of people. I am the generation that grew up with Space Jam. I'm the generation that introduced the world to Lola Bunny. There's plenty of people that have no idea who Lola even is.
Right.
But for the most part, a lot of people know who Daphne. Most people know who Daphne is. So I think that probably plays a little bit of a. a role in the decision.
If the and again, I don't know why, but I think like I always felt that if since they had the Tiny Toon universe, they should have just brought characters up from Tiny Toons. You know what I'm saying?
But I think they just go with the whole like the characters don't really age. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, why? Like I don't think they're gonna make Babs Bunny an adult just for Space Jam. They'll just introduce a new character. Why not introduce a new? Lola's a cool like.
She's a cool character.
She's a very cool character. I think she was a good add to the Looney Tunes world after Space Jam. It's just.
But they've never done anything else with her.
No, she was a part of
that.
the Looney Tunes cartoon going. She was in
Word?
Looney Tunes cartoons going forward.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, she was in the Looney. I'm looking at it right now. She was a part of the Looney Tunes show.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
she was voiced by Kristen Wiig from 2011 to 2014.
Oh, really?
Rachel Ramras, I can't say that name. 2014 to 2015. Zendaya most recently, and Carla Delaney in 2016. So she's been around. She's been there. She's I think she's voiced in the cartoon by Kath Soucie, Soucie.
Right.
Said from 96 to 2005, then 2010, then 2015 to present. So
interesting.
She does exist. I mean, she was even a part of Baby Looney Tunes. So she does still exist within the world of Looney Tunes. It's just, Daphne's got like 50 years on her.
Yeah, I got to go with Daphne on this, but I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Lola. I have to.
No, there's no honorable mention.
No, there is.
This is
a really good.
This is a show of firm decisions.
All right, screw Lola. She's in the garbage.
We're not a show that's like, oh, we'll this
cook her up.
This one's consequential, but we'll make this one partially consequential. No, there's a consequential and an inconsequential. This is a very black and white show.
Cook her up and feed me, Seymour.
She's done.
Feed me now. That's what I'm saying.
She's inconsequential.
Anyway, that's about all the time we have for you guys. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you so much for joining in on the chat. If you can, try to be here every single week, Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'd love to have you join us and give us. We can't do this without you. We need you guys. So
Absolutely.
Please hang out with us. If you are catching it on the replay, make sure you rate. I'm sorry, Tom.
Oh, no, it's just rate, review, subscribe. If you could, please. If you're watching on the replay, hop in the comments, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Or if you're watching on Facebook, please hit us with a follow. All the interaction helps us. Like literally, like I said at the front of the show, all of the interaction that we get on this show helps more people see it, more people interact with it, and more people come join these debates and have fun with us. Because that's all this really is. It's just sitting down, having fun, talking nonsense about a bunch of characters that some people thought are fun, some people generally sometimes don't like. So please like, share, comment on the streams. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on the replay, please, same thing. Comments, likes, shares, all of that stuff. So we get pushed through whatever algorithm we're on, and more people could see us.
And anybody that has ideas on who we should debate, please shoot them out to us. And, especially on social media, we appreciate it, and we will definitely take them into consideration. And, again, we thank you again. Check out the Grindhouse Radio this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've got old school 12-pack Dave Ammerman from all the old VH1 reality shows. Check that out. And thanks again, guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.